You are now tuned in to Papi Chulo Radio, your web portal for the best in pop culture news and interviews.
I see dead people. They don't see each other. They only see what they want to see. They don't know they're dead.
The following is a Papi Chulo Radio original program. The views and opinions expressed in the commentaries and/or interviews in the following program are solely those of the individuals and are not views of Papi Chulo Radio, its parent, affiliate, or subsidiary companies.
Welcome, foolish mortals, to Horror Hotel, a PapiChuloRadio.com and iTunes exclusive, Papi Chulo Radio pop culture on demand. I am your host and hotel owner, Jeffrey Aruz. We're so glad you could check in. We've been dying to have you. Here on Horror Hotel, we're going to explore some of Hollywood's scariest, most frightening, and creepiest films. Please welcome my co-hosts, Night Manager, Legionnaire.
Smile. Not too much.
Concierge Supervisor, Cynthia Boyede.
Hello.
Night Auditor, Mark Estes.
Hello, hello.
Guest Services Supervisor, Donovan Trott.
Dial T for turn down service.
Kinky. And Banquet Manager, Ramon Marquise.
Well, you're just what I've been looking for.
That was kinky.
I know.
Before we head on over to the ballroom, let's stop by the front desk where one of our bellhops has a few special announcements.
Good evening. We thank you for your patronage. Please step all the way in and make room for everyone. There's no turning back now. I didn't mean to frighten you prematurely. The real chills come later. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/PCR Horror Hotel. Follow Papi Chulo Radio on social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, and YouTube, at Papi Chulo Radio. For more information on Horror Hotel, visit papichuloradio.com/Horror Hotel. Do you have any questions, suggestions, comments, or concerns? Email us via contact@papichuloradio.com. Help support Papi Chulo Radio financially by visiting gofundme.com/papichuloradio. Are you interested in joining the Papi Chulo Radio team as an on-air personality or blog contributor? Email talent@papichuloradio.com. Binge listen to your favorite Papi Chulo Radio programs by visiting papichuloradio.com/archives. You can also download tonight's broadcast and the rest of the series through iTunes. Just search for Papi Chulo Radio's Horror Hotel and subscribe. Now, grab some popcorn and some snacks. You may step into the ballroom. It's time for your feature presentation.
Thank you. It's time to fire up the film projector in our ballroom so that we can discuss 1960's Les Yeux sans visage, which translates into English to Eyes Without a Face. Here's the official synopsis of the film. A surgeon causes an accident which leaves his daughter disfigured and goes to extremes to give her a new face. So, y'all know what I'm going to ask. Who has seen this movie? Who had never seen this movie? Who's seeing it for the very first time? Let's start off with Cynthia.
First time virgin here.
Yes. And for the listener, Cynthia bragged, I don't need the subtitles.
Throwing me under the bus.
No,
Well,
I'm giving you slight praise. Everyone else will throw
Thank
you under
you.
the bus.
Yeah, je parle français un petit peu.
Yeah.
Oui, oui.
That means you
Donovan.
know a little bit of French, right?
Yep.
All right. See,
Yes.
I know enough to know that.
There you go. Donovan, what about you? Had you
Oh.
ever seen this before?
I've seen this movie maybe 3 times in the past.
Oh, very nice. Legionnaire, what about you?
Well, je parle un peu de français, mais mon grand-mère ne sait pas bon.
Did you say you were about to pop off?
Cynthia's like, he didn't say anything.
He did.
I certainly did. No, I have not seen this movie before. No, I haven't seen it. This is my first time.
Okay. And it sounds like Legionnaire didn't need the subtitles either. Ramon, what about you?
This is my first time.
And Mark?
Also my first time.
It was my first time as well. So, okay. Awesome. So we're all virgins except for Donovan.
As usual.
Awesome sauce.
Wow. All right. So the cast wasn't that big, but since this is a foreign film, unless you really know French cinema, I don't know if anybody recognized anybody. Did anyone recognize anyone in the cast from anything they had seen before?
Nope.
No, I don't know these people.
Okay. I didn't either. So, did anyone in the cast stand out?
I want to say the secretary for me.
Louise.
The first time I saw the film, I thought the father gave a really good performance. But the more you rewatch it, the secretary carried a lot more emotional weight than you see the first time around.
For me, it would be, if I say her name right, Christiane or Christine.
Christiane, yes.
Christiane. For me, it would have been her.
Yeah, I give her props as
just
well.
Everything about her. You know, her in the mask, the one scene when she took it off, Lord Jesus. And then, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but her and the dogs. It was just, I just really liked her.
Yeah, I give props to the actress that played Christiane, Edith Scobb. She did so much with her eyes, because obviously she's hidden behind a mask, but she sold it. Like her emotions in her eyes. I mean, it was her fantastic.
Body.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's really good. Okay, so let's get into the actual film and the story, and we start off with Louise, the secretary, driving, looking very nervous. And she's got somebody in the back seat. We don't necessarily see the face or anything like that, but we do see her toss the body into the river. What did y'all think was going on when you saw that? Because I thought it was a very interesting way to start the film. Besides, after all the really loud French instrumental. The beginning.
Right. For me to start the movie that way, it definitely got my attention. I was like, oh, okay, so this is how we're going to get things popping. So for me, I didn't mind it starting that way.
Yeah, it was really neat because it was just like a silent movie for like the first 6 minutes. I mean, minus the really loud French instrumental.
Yeah, it was odd, but I agree. I think it was a great way to start the movie out. It just got you in there right away, and the music actually added to the oddness of it for me. So it was weird as hell, but it was working for me.
Yeah, it was like a carnival gone mad.
It was like an ice cream truck driving through hell.
Yes.
That's funny.
Wow.
Ice cream truck driving through hell. That is awesome.
I agree.
I love that.
I've seen this movie several times, as I said, but so like watching it again this time, I was noticing things that I had never noticed before, like starting out when she got out of that car, I was like, oh my God, that is the dopest patent leather coat I've ever seen. And then as the movie goes on, I'm just like, look at all these coats. It's coats on coats on coats. Like everyone has a fly coat in this movie. Watch it again. You will see the house coats, leather coats.
Yes, they have some
French coats. I'm serious. This wool coats. There's some really dope coats in this movie. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, for me, the movie, the way it started off, it was kind of like it turned the expectations on like its head, because you see this woman driving down this road on a rainy night. You think her car might end up getting, like a tire might go out and she might get the road, might come and kill her or something like that. But in actuality, she was getting ready to dump a body. So it drew me in right then. It's like, damn, not only is she sitting here weaving through this damn storm like it ain't a problem, but she's handling this damn big ass, heavy ass dead body, and she just tossed it away and just went like, okay, I'm gonna go home and put a roast on. So
Yes, I love the car. I really like the car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the car was cool.
Yeah, it was nice.
Well, that was part of why the music was so creepy. So let you know that something was off during that first scene while she's driving. I mean, obviously she's doing a really good job of letting you know that, like with her face and whatnot, she's like looking over her shoulder and all that stuff. But the music sets a tone that something ain't right here. And then, of course, there's the dead body bouncing around the backstage.
Yeah, and when I first saw that dead body, I'm like, does she see that?
Right.
Yeah. I honestly thought that was the eyes without the face character at first.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yes.
I like it.
Like, it's behind you.
It's behind you. And so then we're introduced to Dr. Genessier, who I guess this is the section of the movie that's supposed to make us understand that he's a doctor, because he's doing this lecture basically on skin grafting and talking about how one can retain their youth forever, basically. And then we have women in fur coats being extra. And I want to say I like them. I wish that there was a spin-off with just those two, because they entertained me a lot. Do y'all know who I'm talking about? Legionnaire does, because he's laughing.
Yeah, the old women. Yeah.
They entertain me. I like them. But then the doctor has to go and ID a body, because apparently his daughter had gone missing, and apparently another gentleman's daughter had gone missing as well that fits the same description. But Dr. Genessier gets there first, and he positively IDs the body as his daughter Christiane, who had been missing, even though the father, the gentleman, ends up approaching and is like, are you sure? Because my daughter's missing. Are you sure it was yours? And he's basically like, yes.
Yeah, that was my child.
Yeah, I thought that scene was weird, though, just because it felt off to me, because if what they were saying was accurate, that her face was removed and all this kind of stuff, like, I would have expected him to have given a much stronger response when he saw her for the first time. So I thought something was off from, like, at that point.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody else noticed that or thought the same.
No, I mean,
I didn't.
I'm trying to remember back to the first time I saw this movie, and I didn't really recognize during the whole opening sequence that anything was amiss with this character specifically until the secretary showed up. And then I knew he knew something that he wasn't saying.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the secretary, because she's stalking someone very overtly, even though the stalky doesn't realize it.
And it's interesting because in films, you don't normally see women being predatory, even in the horror genre. So it's very interesting.
Yeah. We have the funeral for Christiane, and Louise, the secretary, ends up getting very emotional. And so Dr. Genessier does what anyone would do, I guess, and slaps her.
Hilarious.
I have to say
Wow.
that scene cracked me the hell up.
Oh yeah. I'm like, did he really just slap this woman?
The shit out of her.
Yeah.
That was not a love tap.
At all.
Oh, like, bitch, pull yourself together.
For real.
Yeah. You know who Louise was giving me?
Who?
She was giving me Sarah Paulson realness.
Really?
Yes.
No, she was giving me. Oh God, my mind went blank. Jessica Lange from Feud, because she looked just like a young Jessica Lange slash
Joan Crawford.
Joan Crawford look, because I'm like,
Really?
oh gosh, she reminded me of Jessica Lange in Feud. I'm like, oh gosh, she's reminding me of her.
She was giving me Sarah Paulson from like Asylum or Coven.
Yeah.
And so she gets slapped, and so they leave, and they return home, and we're introduced to the Genessier estate, basically. There's, all these various rooms. We hear hounds barking. That noise is coming from somewhere. And then Dr. Genessier climbs, these long staircases, and we meet Christiane. So Christiane is not dead. She's alive, and we can't see her face.
Mm-hmm.
So
because she doesn't have one.
I know. So we get a lot of exposition. Basically, she was in a car accident. She blames her father for the car accident. And her face was severely damaged, and her father has been trying to find a way to fix her face, basically to give her face back by doing surgeries on women that look-ish like her and that kind of thing. And he has done a successful surgery on Louise. Louise apparently didn't have as much of a facial scarring as Christiane, but whatever he did to Louise worked, and so that's what gives him the hope that he can help Christiane out. Let's talk about Christiane and this opening scene, and let's also talk about that mask.
I think in horror films, there's always something extra scary about masks, because especially plain ones, because they lack emotion. You can't really read what's going on behind the mask. So just as a trope, any mask in any horror film is going to be kind of scary. This may be more appropriate to go into later on, but this is like a 1960s film. The first successful face transplant was actually done 2 years ago. And this has been something that people have talked about for a very long time, since before this film came out. So at the time this movie came out, the idea that you could successfully give somebody else's face was like science fiction. It was not possible. So that's sort of the premise the film is built on. Is this girl doesn't have a face. Her father's trying to give her a face. But I will say this, though. Was it necessary to murder all those girls to do that? Couldn't you just find a dead body?
I'm going to guess you need the tissue to be fresh.
Yeah, but then
Right.
yeah.
That's what they say in other movies.
Okay.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. Ramon knows.
Ramon's experimenting in his basement.
No, I mean, I know people who work in the medical field and also who do mortician type of stuff. It is something to be said about a body who's still quite fresh. A body that either just died or is still alive. So yeah, that's why someone would use a live person to do such an experiment.
Oh, okay. You know a mortician? Is it Fader Parks?
Oops.
No.
Signing off.
Just a little bit.
She don't know what the fuck she doing.
Oh wow. So what really impressed me about this scene is, number one, we're not seeing her face at all.
Mm-hmm.
She's behind the mask, or we're it's being shot behind her head, but like the tone of her voice, the looks in her eyes, her body movements, the placement of her hands, like you can already tell that this is a woman in despair. And you can see like the sadness and the despair and the lack of hope in her eyes, which I thought was beautifully done by the actress, and whatever kind of direction that she got in her acting. I mean, it was just phenomenal to see. And we learned that she had been engaged, or she had a boyfriend, Jacques, who works with her father, and we see her go to a phone and call Jacques, but she doesn't say anything, and all he says is like, hello, who is this, and hangs up.
You can tell this isn't the first time she's called him because of his
reaction.
Exactly.
Correct. And so now let's pretend we're all going to the theater, and we're waiting in line, we're waiting to get our tickets and all this kind of stuff, and then some random person approaches you and is like, oh, my friend didn't show up. I've got an extra ticket. You want to come? Would you say yes?
Hell no.
I would say yes.
You know what I thought
Cynthia will be without her face in about 6 hours. So she said yes.
I don't know. I think I might.
I might. I'm not
it's just
absolutely
Because
not.
if I'm in line to get a ticket
Right.
and someone offers me a ticket, I guess, it was better seats or, more expensive seats. And I don't have to pay for it. I think I would say yes.
And it's obviously
And I knew
popular movie if you're standing in line.
Right. And I already knew that I was going to have to get a cheap seat.
Right. And then
Y'all asses would be without faces.
And then
No.
she's in the line. So now I got to skip all these people.
Right.
Right on the inside. I think I'm finna take this ticket.
It depends
Right.
on what the thing is. Like if I was standing in line for like It or Black Panther or something like that, or whatever new Marvel movie, hell, I know we asked this question to anybody for like, would you break line for a chick if she had better Beyonce tickets? Hell, fuck it.
Yeah.
But also keep in mind that's not when she got her. She got her
Right.
when she said, "I have a room you can rent" or some other stuff. So
Exactly.
the ticket wasn't the issue. It was,
And
going
that's
home
when I
with
would have
this
been like,
person.
oh no, ma'am, bitch, I don't know you.
Right.
You know what's funny? I've gone into a car because someone's like, oh yeah, like I can pick you up and show you the place. Guess I would have been dead a long time ago.
I wouldn't have went with her.
That's that Canadian thing Cynthia's on.
That's too funny. When would you have realized something was wrong, though? Like, you are the girl in the passenger side of your best friend's ride. When would you realize
That's a
that...
TLC song.
I know. When would you realize that something is wrong? Like, as you're starting to see all these trees and you're, like, leaving the city? Like, because
Yeah.
it...
Exactly.
way
It's
too
like,
late.
bitch, where we going?
Right.
I need an address. I need an address. Like
I don't want no
for real.
surprises.
Because there was no Uber
Where's
in
where's
Paris
GPS take
in
me?
1960.
She never told her where she was going. She said,
Right.
Yeah.
I have a place. And
Right.
she
I don't
said
play
it's
them games.
outside of the city, blah, blah, blah.
I don't
And the
play
girl's
them
like,
games.
well, where is it? And she's like, it's a little bit further. It's a little bit further. I would be like, how much further? What's the street name? Like, what is the, what I mean?
We would
Right.
We would not have left that cafe unless I had an address. So I could sit
At
there
all.
and eat. I'll be like, Legionnaire, look. Okay, so she told me that this place is like, here's the address. When we take off, you pull her right behind her. Like, don't be
But how
off.
would you have
She might not have had a car, though. Remember, she was from Switzerland, and the Swiss are very neutral.
She
Listen,
knew somebody.
I need to know
because-
something about where I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm in this car. I'm asking these questions. You not telling me. Well, let me tell you something. Can you put this car over? I got to pee. And when I get out,
I gotta pee.
I'm not getting back inside until you tell me where I'm going.
Exactly.
She did stop the car at one point, though, because
The train.
went by.
Yeah.
She was like, this is the
Well,
train.
then
She could have opened the door and rolled.
Something.
Well, you know what?
Just gag when I got
Duck
to
and roll.
pee.
But you know what? When she kept describing the place, I would say when she kept describing the place, but it's a lot of trees and it's a lot of this. I'm like, well, what you're selling me, what you're giving me is secluded. I'm new here. I don't need to be secluded because I don't know you like that.
That's a trick question.
What's a trick question?
Oh, do you have family around? Like,
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But she had her good Judy though. Her good Judy who came and looked. The only person who came to police said, "Yo, my friend is missing," and she said she was with this woman and she had this brooch around her neck. See, she'd have had an address too. She'd have had something like, no.
She didn't even have a name. Like, really?
Right. It's like,
girl.
Yeah. And so.
I'm sorry.
Well, no, I was going to say well, no, continue on, and then we'll go.
This is really a question. They said the blue-eyed girl murders, which means these have been going on for like a couple of maybe days or weeks for a while, exactly. So it's not like she just so that's what made me think like you went to the movie. I doubt y'all went to a cafe right afterwards.
No, she said that she had gotten out of class and she apologized for showing up late.
Yeah, so she had time to sit this. I met this nice woman at the thing, and she was telling me about some place and everything. And this is how she looks, and you need to be over here with me. I was just been with somebody been with me at all times. Like I don't play them games. I don't have time for them.
Yeah.
This also goes back to how rare it is to have women as the predator in the film.
Exactly.
Because if it's a woman, your guard is down a little bit more.
That's true.
Cynthia, you are a predator.
I am.
I knew it. So they arrive at the Genessier estate, and Dr. Genessier does his best riffraff impression.
Exactly.
He was like over at the Frankenstein place. I don't know if anybody else noticed it, but it made me laugh.
Yeah.
And so they arrive, and the poor girl is like looking around, like, oh shit, what the hell did I get myself into? Because I can't run that far.
She was ready to go as soon as she got there.
Right. Absolutely.
And how many dogs are here? How many dogs are here? And the one was like, you're well protected. No, how many dogs are here? Because that doesn't calm me. They might be, what the rabbits? I don't know. They might be rabbits. I mean, let me know something.
Poor Edna. Edna Gruber, our little Swiss girl. And then as she's approaching, all the lights turn on, and then she like turns around. She's like, oh, hell no.
Right.
And then she said something to the effect of, I want to get back to the city before it's too late.
Yes. She did reference that she had a friend that was waiting for her.
Yes.
She was,
here.
yes.
And then what's her face was like, it's already too late, girl. She was like,
yeah, she was like, you're too late.
You up there now.
Like, you better just enjoy the port before things get worse.
Is it just me, or did it remind anyone else of Get Out?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, similar.
I know I was screaming, get out.
Baby, that movie there.
Run, bitch, run!
Yeah. But unfortunately, she got
It's also
chloroformed.
interesting to me when you see these films that sort of play on manners and how your manners can get you killed. Because you don't want to be rude, but you have a bad feeling. But, it's very interesting how we are conditioned to go against our first instinct. Like, I'm in a situation, I'm uncomfortable, I just want to run for the door and go, but I don't want to be rude, so I'll stay, and now I'm dead.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
The moral of the movie, be rude, leave.
Exactly. But unfortunately, Edna gets chloroformed, and unlike on the Tingler, when the body was light, Edna... Because Louise was struggling. I'm just saying.
Right.
Yeah, that body picked up some dust on the way to the garage. And it was two of them. Both of them were her and the doctor took the body, and each one of them it was kind of like you would think he could just pick her up himself and carry her to the garage.
He should have chloroformed her in the garage. That would have saved them some trouble.
Right. But how do you get her to the garage? Because she doesn't.
Let me give you a tour of the house. This is the garage.
He could have said, "I'll drive you home. Come to the garage," and then chloroformed her.
Exactly.
There you go.
And so the good doctor doesn't want to do the surgery until after dinner because I guess, you know.
He needs his energy.
I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so Christiane follows, and then we see where all the dogs are, and we have this really nice tender moment between Christiane and all of the dogs that are in these weird-looking cages, in my opinion.
Yeah. They were actually fairly nice compared to some of the kennels I've seen. I was like, these are some high-end kennels that they got.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
for the big ass dogs, some German shepherds.
It looked creepy to
But then
me.
the question comes in: why does he have all these dogs? And you don't find that out till later.
Yes.
I was like, rich people go hunting all the time.
With a bunch of dogs.
And so Christiane takes off her mask and she approaches Edna to, I guess, you know, feel and touch what her new face could look like. But Edna wakes up and we get our first, even though it's blurry, but our first look at what Christiane really looks like, and Edna lets out a big scream. What do we think of this, and what do we think of poor Christiane?
It was subtle. It wasn't like stuff hanging off or anything. It was actually very neat the way it was like a perfect, you could tell that he had been experimenting on her already. So, you know, it wasn't like, you know, creature feature. It was like, oh, she just doesn't have skin on her face, you know?
Ramon, what about you? I feel like you had something to say about this earlier.
You know, I thought it was really cool because once again, just everything about this woman's acting, her body language, her eyes, I really love this. So when she walks over and takes the mask off, and I was like, oh, wow, okay, that's really how she looks. And, it took me to some other movies that I've seen, but I liked it. And I think that when I think of, even though it was blurry, I think just the...
It was blurry?
What, it seemed... What? Excuse me?
So fucking blurry.
I can't fool with y'all. First of all,
I like it. It's a new word that we're teaching our Canadian friend, Cynthia.
What?
Thank you.
Listen, even though it didn't come across quite clear to see, we only said a little bit. Y'all knew what I was trying to say. Y'all
I like it.
Listen, whatever. So I really liked it, and I don't gonna say it scared me a little bit, but I was like, oh shit, this bitch ugly. So yeah, I like it.
Wow.
Well, I thought it
That's
was really
rude.
beautiful.
Because there are killing girls everywhere. She just needs someone to be like, you're beautiful.
Child.
And I think this
She
was the
needs a
connection.
face. That's what she needs.
She needs a face.
And I think that's what the connection was with the dogs. You see how they came to her like without a problem. Like, they probably hungry though, but still. So
Aww.
They can smell that raw meat coming from under that.
Right.
Beef jerky.
Oh, too much.
That's too much. So we see the surgery, and I don't know if it was just me, but for like 1960, I thought this was pretty graphic in a good way.
Yes.
yes,
Absolutely.
very. It's kind of funny because we just finished talking about the Tingler, and like I'm talking about how body horror that the Tingler gave us like the first instance of body horror though, but I think that this one just took it to the next level.
Yes.
Because as you saw in most American movies up until that point, when anytime blood came up, it was like a speck of like some ketchup on the hand. You just put some like and white, something like that. You got blood, but here they was cutting into the skin. Blood was floating up from under the skin. It was just like that had my ass screaming over here like, ooh.
Yeah, it went from Hitchcock to Hostel.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Very
I
well
read up
done.
on that, and they said that to avoid French censors, they had to cut, but they said you can cut, but don't show too much blood. And I was like, hell, I'm not worried about the blood. I'm just like, y'all are cutting to like not actual human flesh though, but y'all are depicting somebody cutting into human flesh in a grotesque way. I thought that was very ahead of the game at that point, so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was
Sure,
intense.
sure.
Although I did notice a little error, because he had like drawn all over the like a circle around the face and a circle around the eyes. He didn't draw one around the lips, but then all of a sudden he had cut around the lips.
Yeah,
that's true.
He forgot.
Yes.
Well, as he pulled the face off, you could see that they had gone around the lips, but they just didn't show it. So I guess when it came to the point where they're pulling the face off, they're like, "Oh, hold up, let's go back and redo the
lips."
But it's just like a little imperfection.
Yeah, it was gross as fuck though. In a good way.
I
loved every bit of it.
I guess I didn't find it like gross. I didn't like look away. I thought it was artful in the sense that it's showing you all this stuff, but it's not being like you mentioned, hostile. Like, it's not torture porn. It's just,
although her picking up random women was very hostile-ish.
It was very...
I love Hostel.
Was it just me, or was it weird when she tenderly wipes off the one drop of blood?
Mm-hmm.
That was so sweet. That was such a sweet moment.
Blot my forehead.
Right.
My forehead is sweating.
She did it to be sweet. I think she was just moving the blood so he could see what he was doing.
But she did it so nicely.
Right.
It's very elegant. It's very tender. That's too much. And so we learn a little bit more about the dogs. Although we don't get the full story about the dogs, but we see that he collects stray dogs, and we see one of the new dogs get placed in one of those weird S&M kennel things that he's got. They're just oddly shaped. It was very weird.
They are.
It's like hostile for the dogs. It was very weird.
It is hostile for the dogs, yes.
Very much.
And so we learn that Edna is still alive without a face.
With no face.
Poor thing.
And basically he tells Louise, a.k.a. Sarah Paulson, feed her, give her something to drink, we'll figure out what we're going to do for her. And so she does just that. She brings her, it looked like it was a dog bowl, but I don't know what it was. But it looked like it was in one of those doggy dishes. And she's going to feed her, but Edna has her own plan, because I guess she saw Hostel. And she bashes Louise's head with a wine glass. Not wine glass, with a wine...
Now I need to ask, why wasn't she tied to the bed?
So that's true.
She was on LSD.
That kind of would have made sense.
She was not on LSD. Wrong movie, Cynthia.
They probably said what we're doing here is for science. If we're not, how they say it, we're not savages. We're just doing this for science, and so we're not going to.
There you go.
And they probably just didn't think they needed that kind of safety precaution. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. So here's another question. I love this movie, but I love pointing out inconsistencies as well. So they're treating Edna very nicely. They've wrapped her up all nicely. They're feeding her whatnot. So what happened to the other girl or the girls before that? Were they doing the same with them and just decided, you know what, we're just going to kill you? Or did they die during the operation? Or...
Exactly.
Interesting. Very good question.
Remember the doctor was like, oh, I want to get this one whole piece. So maybe he botched the rest.
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah, because it seemed like he was chopping the face up piece by piece and sewing it up Frankenstein style, I guess. I don't know.
Right. Kind of sort of.
Yeah.
I guess the longer the surgery, the higher the risk that something will go wrong. If you're just cutting off one big chunk of a face, then it's pretty quick and simple.
Yeah. So Louise gets bopped in the head by the wine bottle, and Edna escapes into the house, which that didn't make sense to me. I'm
all the way up those stairs.
Why are you going deeper into the house?
Right.
Do you think they're not going to find you in their own house?
Do we think all right, now, do we think she was trying to get away, or do we think, because she did end up jumping and killing herself, or was she just looking for the highest point to kill herself?
I thought she was trying to get away.
I thought she was trying to get away as well.
Yeah, I thought she was trying to get away too, but then she killed herself.
Right.
Or maybe she was trying to escape through the window and then she accidentally fell. I guess we'll never know.
Because she was, if she was trying to kill herself, I don't think she'd be screaming, you know.
I feel like her death was accidental. I don't think she expected to, you know.
I always got the impression that she caught a glimpse of herself in a mirror and then decided to kill herself after she saw what they did to her. But there was no mirror in the room that he went into after. It was just an open window. Right. So.
Yeah. And so, did y'all think she was also going to go into the river? Because I did.
I didn't really think about it.
I guess they figured the last body got fished out, and it's hard to explain more than one young woman without a face. So
right, like what the hell going on?
Exactly.
Right. Is it weird she was lighter after she died than when she was still alive?
Yes, clearly.
That's funny.
Cynthia and these body weights. How much experience do you have with dead bodies? That's what I want to know.
They know a lot about dead bodies in Canada.
We just help around in Canada. Help carry dead bodies.
She's like, when I drag my dead bodies, they're way heavier than that.
Right.
That's too funny. Did any of y'all think someone was going to see them as they were pickaxing the crypt that fake Christiane is in, where they end up dumping Edna's body?
Nah.
No,
not really.
No, no, I didn't.
I don't think they cared.
They probably didn't care either, right? But no, I didn't think that.
Hashtag privilege.
Pretty much.
It didn't pop into my head because it wasn't like they were on the lookout necessarily. They just like got there. He tossed the body to the secretary, opened the crypt, opened the slab in the floor, took the body, tossed it down. It was very mechanical.
Uh-huh.
Did he slap her in this scene?
No, she only got slapped once.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. It feels like he slapped her again for some reason.
She probably should have gotten.
She got emotional, I think, at one point, right? She was like, I can't do this again or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't think he slapped her, and he probably should have, but no.
When did they have time to put back everything?
That's true.
Details.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So Christiane's face transplant was a success for a hot second until Papa starts seeing that she's got rosy cheeks, and then he's like, "Oh no!" And then
just kept getting worse.
I know, and then we see the face decomposing.
And then he left. Like, he noticed she had rosy cheeks, and he's like, "Okay, I'll see you when I get back." Like,
right.
He's got shit to do.
Sorry.
I mean, at that point, he probably realized, okay, I done fucked up again. I can't fix this. So it wasn't a priority for him at that point, probably.
So I knew there was nothing he could do at that point.
Right.
Yeah, but she probably had an infection.
Oh, she had to have. She had races in her face. Also, races in your face. Oh my God, just him describing it just hit me like. And I watch Dr. Pimple Popper every day, but it's just like this still had me gagged. Like, also races in your face.
Dr. Pimple Popper.
Yeah.
That's so fun to watch.
But to Cynthia's point, though, he is doing surgery like in a basement full of like asbestos or something. So it's attached to his apartment. That whole that lab, his hospital, and all that stuff is supposed to be attached to his house, to the estate. But so he's in a garage doing surgeries.
Couldn't have been that sanitary.
He's like right next to that dog. Like, it's probably dog dander in the hair and all that stuff. That's probably why these surgeries aren't working out.
Well, actually, if you think about it, she did go play with the dogs, and the dogs slobbered on her hands, and then she touched that girl's face.
That might have been a sabotage thing.
She's self-sabotaged.
Maybe she didn't want to be beautiful.
Aww.
I think it comes down to the point where it's like you have to ask yourself, like, is he doing this to really help her out, or because he keeps talking about like, I'm responsible for what happened to you, so I have to fix this, and then he's in the process of killing girls. He feels remorse for that, but he will also throw in they are going to say I can't do it. It's like he's trying to prove something.
Prove a point,
Prove a point instead of really taking. Okay.
No, I was going to say, let's actually break that down a little bit more, because on top of all that you just mentioned, he's also experimenting on the dogs. He's basically doing fur grafting or, skin grafting the dogs. I guess a little patch of German Shepherd on the boxer, a little bit of a boxer on the collie. Like,
right.
He's doing some interesting and unique experiments, I guess, in trying to perfect the skin grafting.
Yeah, and in his mind, he probably has these twisted justifications for why he should continue on with what he's doing.
Right.
Did anyone catch that scene where they're sitting there, she's got her face on, and they're talking about her, like, starting a new life at some point, and he's like, you should be really happy, give me a smile. She starts to smile. He's like, not too much.
Yeah.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
I guess
I think it's interesting. I mean, he clearly, because like when we first see him, he's giving a lecture on transplanting tissue. Like, this is what he does. This is his job. Right. And then also he caused this accident that hurt his daughter. So I'm sure it's all mixed up in there, and he's probably gotten to the point where he doesn't even know what his motives are anymore.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I was going to also throw in the fact for her, Christiane, I can't pronounce her name, say my name, but it's like, I guess she had a little bit of hope, but it's like, I can't call my boo. Even if I do, even if this does work, you pronounce me dead to the world.
Right.
Exactly.
And I can't go back to the man that I love, so what's the point?
Love is so overrated. Like,
Bitter party of one. What's going on over there?
It's rough in Canada.
Love is overrated.
So a lot of things happen, like, subsequently, that's really interesting and sets up like the final third of the movie. So first up, Christiane ends up calling Jacques again, but this time she actually says his name, Jacques, and he recognizes it, and Louise catches her, and basically Christiane is like, kill me, because, I'm tired of all this shit.
Right.
Then, or I should say, before that, Edna's friend does report her missing, and she mentions that the woman was wearing a pearl necklace, almost like a choker. And this girl was also there who was caught shoplifting. And so when Jacques ends up showing up to the police and is basically like, I heard her, but Dr. Genessier, is like, no, and this, that, or the other, but I know it was her. The police officer is basically like, oh, well, all these people, are sure about this, this person here, this person there, this person talking about a woman with a pearl choker. He's like, pearl choker? And so he fills them in on some information, and so they end up hatching a plot or a scheme or an undercover sting using the shoplifting girl. And the shoplifting girl is going to dye her hair, and she's going to check herself into the Genessier clinic, and they're going to basically use her as bait to see if what Jacques is saying is true. Jacques works at the clinic, and so Jacques is going to keep an eye on her. And while all that's going on, Louise is looking around for a new face. So what did you all think of this plot that was going to happen? Because I thought it was interesting, and I don't know, maybe it's the times, but I thought that the shoplifting girl was like, really? That's all I have to do, and I don't have to go to jail? Like, okay, let's go. Let's, yeah.
I thought that was just really shady. I was like, okay, y'all was gonna let her go, but now it's like, no, girl, we gonna take you in. However, if you do this little thing, then now we really gonna let you go this time.
They were full of shit. I cannot stand the cops. I was so over them because, like, I need y'all's badges. I need y'all's badge numbers because y'all are not doing a damn thing about these murders. Y'all like, that's not helping me out. I could be at home eating a baguette. I mean, something. Oh, like,
Shout out to baguettes.
Not a baguette.
I know, right?
Don't they have female police officers that can go into
No.
Not in the
Not back
1960s,
then, not back
apparently.
then.
Right.
Wait, but it's so ridiculous that even before then, the guy's like, "Oh, take her home address in case of." I'm like, in case of what? Like, what reason? Like,
He wants to bang
do you
her.
not? Yeah, like, do you not have a girlfriend?
That's true.
Just shady people.
Mm.
What did you all think of that scene in the clinic with the little boy? I thought that was so random.
It felt very random.
were the officers in that scene as well? I can't remember.
No, Jacques was in the scene.
Jacques. Okay, that's probably try to like throw him off the scent of because he already got suspicious that Louise is involved somehow. And he knows that Louise is I guess Dr. What's the guy's name?
Genessier.
Genessier is like, that's Louise's boss. So I guess it was just trying to show like Genessier is humane. You know what I'm saying? Look at how he takes care of this kid. You know what I'm saying? Look at how he's trying to do all this stuff for this kid. And I was like, I wasn't buying it, and you shouldn't either. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
What do y'all think was wrong with the kid?
Well, he clearly was having some kind of eye issue, and the only thing that I can glean from it is that they were trying to reestablish the fact that he does, like transplants and things like that, because whatever he did to fix his eyes was not working properly, or at least that's the impression it was giving. It had started working, but then there was some issues.
So he can't fix anybody, basically.
Oh
Right.
my gosh.
so his job may be on the line. That's probably why he's trying to get this thing screwdriver working.
Right.
He's just terrible. Like, it's not even a face transplant thing. You go in there with a stubbed toe, you lose your toe. It's like he's a bad
jeez.
doctor.
Okay, so Paulette Merodon, the shoplifting girl, she checks herself in. Let's talk about these contraptions and these flashing light bulbs that they do to her.
Oh, right. It's like, what the hell?
Well, hold on. Can anybody remember what her symptoms were? What she said she was experiencing?
She was supposed to be having a migraine, but apparently whatever those tests were proved that she's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So by flashing
like-
lights in her face, they were like, "Oh no, you're not experiencing migraines."
Yeah, because aren't you sensitive to light if you have migraines?
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So maybe he's not totally bad at his job.
I mean, he's good with healthy people. It's just
Right. Right.
He's like, "Oh, you're fine. You're."
But even if she wasn't healthy, she had to be fine because that was his next subject. He was like, "You better be fine."
That's
Like
too
you would-
funny. So then we reach the climax to the movie. So Paulette checks out of the hospital, but she makes sure that she has a witness that she's checked out. She calls back home and is like, I'm checking out. I'm on my way.
Yeah, I
And-
think she called her mother.
Yes.
Yeah, her mom. Yeah.
And so
I thought
she...
she,
hmm
I thought she called the cops because that's how they showed up.
Yeah.
The mom.
Oh, okay.
No, I feel like she faked that she was calling her mom and called the cops.
This is what I was thinking because they showed
Maybe.
up.
Mm.
I can dig that story too. And so she heads on over to the bus stop, but there's Louise. I'm going your way. How the fuck do you know which way she's going? She's going to the bus stop.
Oh my God.
Are you going to drop her off at the bus
I
stop?
said the same thing to myself. How the fuck she knew this girl was going?
We always put our addresses on hospital forms. I'm just giving this movie benefit of a doubt here.
But how would Louise have seen it?
Right, and that's
HIPAA
confidential.
violation.
Right, exactly. That is confidential. She did not
Yes.
have known where that heifer was
Exactly.
going.
The HIPAA. They were,
So
Again.
unfortunately for Paulette, she got captured because she's getting the pencil drawn on her face. But the doctor is interrupted by two police officers at the clinic. And this is where I got confused.
Yes.
So the clinic is on the same grounds where the house is?
Yes,
Right.
it's on the same.
Why did she need a ride?
I know. Well, I guess it was the whole, I'm going to take you away from here, but then, like, they brought her back.
Yeah. She didn't notice when that car made a U-turn. She was like...
She was already knocked out with the chloroform, I guess.
That is true.
Maybe.
I know it's dark outside, but damn, you didn't feel the car turn into you?
Yeah, but then we had this whole thing with the cops, and, he's like, oh, but she left. And like, oh, here's the paperwork. The paperwork says that she left. So she left. Okay, bye-bye, cops. Bye-bye. She left.
Right.
And they're like, okay,
What?
she left.
Oh God.
And left her there. They left her. Like, you put this girl in this situation.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
Okay, this is my issue with this whole entire plan and why I just said the cops need to be canned. They need to be fired because your plan was for this. Y'all help me out here. Your plan was for this girl to infiltrate the hospital, and then get put as a patient. And then when she sit there and tells you, because like what Cynthia says. Because I think that's what happened. She told them that I'm calling my mom because why would you sit there and tell the reception, I need to call the police station? That's a red flag. So she told her, I'm calling my mom, call the police station, said, okay, I'm leaving now. Which means somebody's ass needs to be on the damn with me.
Right.
But I'm out this place, somebody be out here. So she gets scooped up and the cops come and tell her, oh, she left. I told her to catch the bus. Well, she's gone home and you're just sitting here letting your little heart get the best of you. You'll get over it eventually. Let's go home. I have I'm like, I said, that was the dumbest plan. No, let me take that back. The plan wasn't stupid. It was just executed badly on the cops' side.
Right.
Because they try to, I think they try to give the girl off as being like a little airhead, but she wasn't. She followed everything to the T.
She did.
Yeah.
But they should have had a cop. She had no clue what the hell she was walking into.
They should have had an undercover cop ready for her when she got discharged. But hold on, wasn't the point of the plan to put her in harm's way? To say, like, if something happens to her, now we know that they're up to no good. Wasn't that the whole point?
Right.
And then when something happens to her, they're like, oh, okay, I guess, all right, bye. But
Right. Now that she got her face cut off, now we know some shit going on.
That's too much. The part that I thought was very suspicious of that scene was Dr. Genessier was like watching them leave because like Jacques ends up leaving with the police because like I guess Genessier was like, Jacques, escort them out, make sure they leave the property. And but then like Jacques has this whole conversation with them, like shaking hands and everything, and I'm like, I thought they were gonna make something of that, but they didn't.
No, French people are very polite.
Oh,
okay.
Because I thought
Cynthia would know.
Come downstairs and be like, "Did y'all find her? Did we lose her? Did y'all have a factual that she got on the bus and went home? Did y'all get a call from her from home?"
Right.
It was like, "Oh, I guess you're right, cops. I guess I'll go home and."
Right. There was like no follow up to make sure that the girl was okay. I mean, no plan. Okay, girl, go there. Like, we just go send you in here and we'll see how it all works out. Oh, she went home. Oh, okay. Damn. You can't call and follow up on the bitch,
It's like that's, she was supposed to go home. We supposed to meet with her and ask her what happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the part of the plan that you just dropped completely. Oh, we missed her. Okay,
text message. Let me know you made it home. I mean, something.
That's too funny. So the film ends with a whole bunch of stuff happening within like the span of 5 minutes. So Paulette the shoplifter wakes up and she's like strapped down, and Christiane ends up freeing her, even though Paulette is freaked out. But I guess anybody would be freaked out with the girl with the mask comes at you with like a little teeny tiny knife. But then Christiane uses the teeny tiny knife to stab Louise in the neck, And somehow that kills her. Can you die from a stab in the neck?
If you stab in the right spot, yeah.
I guess she stabbed her in the right spot.
And she's been watching surgeries for a while now, so she probably knows.
Mm-hmm.
But usually don't the people like die from the stab in the neck when they pull the thing out and then they bleed to death?
Maybe fear.
Depends on where you stabbed them at.
And shock. And she got a tingle.
She had a tingler inside her.
There you go.
Killed her.
Yeah, because she went down fast. Pourquoi?
She couldn't scream.
Yes. And so Paulette was the only rational human being in this whole movie because she ran and she didn't look back.
I know that.
Not at all.
Yeah.
She didn't run upstairs.
Right.
Yeah, she ran out. And then Christiane opens all of the dog cages. And the dogs end up attacking Dr. Genessier. That looked like that was the dog, the most recent capture that attacked him first.
Yes.
And then all of them attacked him, and they all mauled his face, appropriate enough. And then Christiane frees the doves. We really didn't see the doves or why they were there. But there were doves there, and she frees them, and one of them lands on her shoulder, and then, or her hand or something, and then she ends up traipsing through the woods at night, and then it says fin.
One thing I thought was so interesting, though, was with the dogs. It seemed as if, at one point, they were not just attacking him, but it seemed like some of them were attacking each other.
Yes.
Well, they're like wild dogs, so I
Yeah.
mean, I feel like they're just like wrestling around, but they were definitely going for him because this was definitely cutting them up for
Exactly.
long. And with Christiane, it's clear that she snapped, but
You think?
From the from the second she stabbed old girl, I was like,
Sarah Paulson.
What? Sarah, from the second she stabbed Sarah. Because I couldn't really understand why she would kill her. She wasn't behaving like... She pretty much just asked, Christiane, what are you doing? We're going to give you a new face. And she just stabbed her in the neck.
Pourquoi? Pourquoi?
C'est la vie. But she was like...
Oui.
No. I guess in her mind, she was just sort of freeing them all.
Yeah.
She was freeing this lady from that. She freed the girl. She freed the dog. She freed the doves. Even in a way, I don't know if it was intentional. I don't think she knew the dogs would go for her father or even where her father was at that point. But in a way, it's like I'm freeing him as well. And then at the end, she kind of freed herself. Although
you're getting all metaphorical. I like it. What did y'all think of the way the film ended with her just like traipsing through the forest with the dove?
I liked it.
It was a great ending.
I thought it was delightfully odd.
Kind of like the opening music.
Yeah.
I like endings to films in general that don't spell it out to you what happens afterwards.
Yes.
There is a cheap sort of thing that can happen where, I mean, this isn't a movie, but it's like the most popular reference I can come up with, like at the end of The Sopranos, when it just sort of cuts to black and everybody's all upset because they're like, what just happened here? That I feel is kind of cheap. Like rather than end the story, you just kind of like cut off and you're like, all right, we're done. But this is sort of an ending that's open-ended. It's ambiguous. You can infer what you would like. You know, maybe she did kill herself. Maybe she went off and, you know, lived her life in the woods with the birds and like Snow White or something. Maybe she, you know, I mean, it's up to you and your imagination to figure out what happened to her. I like these types of endings.
I co-sign all of that.
Yep.
Look at Donovan being agreeable.
Always
God.
agreeable. I mean, if you don't agree with me, you're usually the one that's wrong. So.
Excuse you.
Oh my. All right, let's check in to see if this film has been nominated and or won any awards. And to be quite honest, I couldn't find any.
What?
Mm.
I'm offended.
From the impression I got from this film or the reading I've done on it, when it came out, it was received in a very sort of lopsided way.
Yes.
A lot of people were not feeling it. Some people maybe were, and it didn't really gain esteem until decades later when people were like, oh, this is actually kind of a cool movie. So I don't think it probably would have gotten the awards when it came out.
Yep, and they had so many censors to look after because they said that they had to make sure to not show too much blood for the French censors. Then for the American censors, they couldn't show, I want to say, too much gore. And for the German censors, they couldn't show Genesee being a mad scientist to offend the German censors, which I was like, that just sounds so fucking insane. Excuse me, because not all Germans are mad scientists. I don't know where they got that from.
Yeah, for the American censors, it was the animals getting tortured.
Animals getting tortured, okay. And I know it's from a book, and they said that they took a lot of liberties from the book or something like that. So the scene where Edna's getting her skin peeled off her face, that was actually used in this compilation from this group called Seven Factor. They take clips from all these horror movies and put them to this horrific music that they make. And so I remember this scene. I'm like, I saw it before. So I guess it has some significance in classic horror, and I just missed that. So, but now you learn something new every day, and I'm caught up, and I'm happy about it. So,
oh, that's really interesting. Now, as far as the Rotten Tomatoes fresh meter, this film is 98% certified fresh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you disagree with that, Donovan?
No. Oh.
I do not disagree with that. I think it's a great movie. I think it's one of those movies that kind of expands on what horror or what the horror genre can be.
Yes.
I mean, when you think of classic horror, you think of like obvious movies like Rosemary's Baby, Halloween, The Omen, The Exorcist. Those are very overt.
Medea's Family Reunion.
Ah.
But you think of them as having this very sort of architectural evil presence. This is evil, is coming for you. With this film, it's much more nuanced. No one's really evil in this movie. Everybody's conflicted. Everybody's flawed. And these are the types of movies that I think you're sort of like on the line between sort of psychological suspense and I would say kind of it's similar to like Whatever Happened to Baby Jane or
Yes.
Maybe in a more modern sense, Black Swan. These are movies that have horror elements to them but aren't outright horror. They are exploring the human psyche and people's, inner demons and whatnot. And it's not as fantastical, even though in this movie you have like people's faces getting removed and put back on and whatnot. There is a universe in which you could see this happening in real life.
Yes.
It would take a series of incredible events, but you could see it happening and people really behaving this way. So it's a more realistic form of horror.
I'm clapping everything he just said. He just solved it. That was good. That was awesome.
Thank you.
I approve. All right, let's give out our own awards since we are here in the ballroom, and let's start off with the ingenue.
Christiane.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's the
I
diva?
agree.
Edna.
Wait, who did you say? Edna. Dr. Genesier.
Yeah, I was gonna say Dr. James.
Wait, but what about those two old ladies?
Oh yes, they were
Oh
good.
yeah, they were fierce. Yes.
They were.
The shop.
No, they were the feminist icons.
Oh, okay.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, I like it. What was the slap of the night?
Come on.
Absolutely.
What was the kill of the night?
I like when the dogs killed the doctor.
Yeah.
They shook his ass real nice.
Yeah.
What was the moment that made you gag?
Oh.
Taking the skin off her face.
Yeah.
The shot of the doctor and what the dogs did to him.
Did
it's
to
very
him.
brief, but it was much more graphic than anything you saw with Christiane or the surgery. Like, they tore his ass up.
Mm-hmm.
They did.
Let's tear your ass limb from limb. Let's get you. Let's experiment on you. What's up under this skin right here? Let's see what's up under here.
What was the shadiest moment?
Them
Smile.
cops abandoning what's her face.
Right, abandoning that girl.
But then he said smile, but like not too much.
I like that one. The smile comment, yeah.
Yeah, that was horrible.
Yeah, that could have been the read of the night, too.
Very true.
What was the I can't believe I just saw that moment?
Ooh.
I would say the removing of the face.
Yeah.
Actual for that time period when we're so used to things shining away from showing anything graphic, it was just like, damn, they did that back in 1960. That had to remind myself that this is the French. This is not Americans. This was not up to code for the American movie system at the time. So
right.
So that would be. I can't believe I'm just seeing it.
I'm gonna go back to them cops abandoning that girl. I'm like, really?
Right, exactly. I'm stuck on that.
That's
a
too
tie.
funny.
I would give it. That's a tie.
Right.
What was the That's So Retro moment?
Ooh.
Oh, no.
The coats.
All
those.
You know what? I was
Okay.
just gonna say the coats and the cars.
That's a good one.
What is the fashion period? Yeah, the fashion.
Yeah.
The hairstyle. Good thing.
Yeah, because that first raincoat that Louise had on, that was the business.
Yeah.
That's her dump a body coat.
Right.
Coat for everything. Just pick up girls' coats.
That's too funny. So now it's time to rank the film with our special categories. You can select one or you can mix and match. The 5 categories are Screamer, films that are filled with scares, Gutbuster, films that are grotesque, Eye Popper, films that are visually impressive, Gravedigger, films that lack scares, and The Mind Blower for overall best in show. Let's start off with you, Legionnaire.
This was a gutbuster for me. It was didn't have any scares, but it definitely had some grotesque moments in it.
Ramon.
I want to give it Eye Buster and an Eye Popper. I think from the grotesque aspect of it, of course, but also I just like some of the advancements that I felt like from 1960. So yeah, that's why I picked those categories.
Shout out to the Eye Buster.
Gut Buster and Eye Popper.
I'm making up my own category.
I like it.
I'm so over y'all.
Mark, what about you?
Gutbuster for the. I'm gonna say Gutbuster and Eye Popper for the removal of the face, because again, it was like I was not expecting that for that time period. And a screamer.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was screaming at the screen when the cops was like, well, I guess we can go home now. Because I was screaming at my screen like, are you serious? Are you kidding me right now? Yeah.
Donovan.
So I'm going to say Eye Popper because visually I think there was a lot about this film that was not necessarily ahead of its time, but that holds up. It still stands up to this day. It was done in a very simplistic way that still sort of gets you into it. And then I'll also say Mind Blower because I think you have to go back a little ways after it initially came out to really see its influence. But it is a game changer as far as the horror field goes. You didn't really get very many complex horror movies before this sort of genre was born.
Cynthia.
Okay, I'm going to go with Eye Popper, just because it was very aesthetically pleasing. I can't say that word to save my life, but it was just beautiful to look at, to watch, and Mind Blower as well, because, yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by the movie. I thought it was going to be like, has anyone seen The Exorcist now? And you're just
Yes.
like, I can't believe that scared me. Like, it's so ridiculous. That's what I was expecting when I went in, but I was pleasantly surprised. So, yeah.
Nice. I'm going to give it a gut buster because I thought the surgical scenes were really gross in a good way. I thought they did a really great job. And I'm going to go with Mind Blower because I just thought it was a phenomenal movie as a whole. And since all of you kept on mentioning it, I will throw in Eye Popper just because it was visually stunning as well. It was a beautifully shot film and everything, like the costuming, the sets, like it was just really nice to look at. So I can agree with all of you. Now it's time to rate the film on a scale of 1 to 10 hotel room keys. The point system is allowed, and let's start off with you, Cynthia.
You can have all 10 keys and come back anytime.
Oh,
wow, okay.
doors unlocked.
Yeah. You don't need the keys.
That's too funny. Why, Cynthia? Why 10?
It's just like I said before, like it's a movie that I see myself watching like 10 years from now and not judging myself for finding it so good. It was just that good.
Nice. Donovan will judge you, though.
Yeah, probably. It's okay. He gets no keys.
Oh.
Ooh.
All right, Donovan, what about you? How many hotel room keys?
I'll give it 10. For the time it came out, how different it was, and how it stands up. And even with, like, because we're sitting around nitpicking, and, like, there's, like, this that doesn't make sense, and then there's that, or whatever. But none of it really takes away from the overall effect of the movie. We were talking about another movie recently that I felt like the special effects, I give it many negative points, even though I enjoyed the idea of the film. All the little teeny tiny things took nothing away from the wonderful direction, the great performances, and the story itself was really, really good. And like I said, it's on the edge there. It's not like a classic horror, you know. It blurs the lines.
All right. I know you like it. I know you want it. No,
No, you
blurred
like
lines.
it.
Sorry.
Good girl.
But there was a little hateration in the dancery, or in the dance soiree, as it should have been. But we have 10 hotel room keys again, so we can have a key party soon.
Yeah.
Ow. Mark, what about you? How many hotel room keys?
I'm gonna give it 10 as well. Like I said, it was something that I wish I could have had as many viewings of it as Donovan has, because it stands out. It reminds me of like one of those Alfred Hitchcock Presents move, like the TV series.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can see that being like aired as one of those, you know, early in the late 50s, early 60s. But yeah, I just love it. And again, like Donovan also said, he just took all my answers. So whatever Donovan just said, that's what I have to say for it, because it does stand the test of time. I do want to show it to my sister and whatnot, and because she's also into horror movies, and just bring more awareness to it, because I swear to God, I did not know about this movie. All I saw was that one little clip, and it was an obscure YouTube video. So that's why I have to give it a 10.
I like it. Ramon, what about you? Are you on the hype train with all the 10 room key people, or are you on the sidecar?
So here's the thing.
He's in the sidecar.
Initially, when we were given this movie, I've seen a few foreign films. I'm not big on them, but I have seen a few that I tend to like.
You don't like to read the screen?
Well, it's not so much you don't like to read. I really don't like to be bothered. So, like, even when I watch TV, I can't stand closed caption. Like, I just don't like it. So, I went to watch the movie thinking I wasn't going to like it. I just said, I'm not going to like this crap. What is this? But I'm being a good sport and watch it. Nothing about the movie scared me. Nothing about none of the movies so far have scared me. But I feel like this movie had every aspect that I like to see in a horror film. I like the some of the simplicity to the movie. I like, everybody brought up the fashions and things like that. I enjoyed that. I really appreciated the actress who played Christiane. She was my favorite character in the movie, just simply because just her acting really came from just facial expressions and body language. I like the storyline of the movie. So for me, because I went in with low expectations, but I was highly impressed, I would give it 10 room keys.
Oh. See, he did a little psych out for us.
We thought you were going one direction, then you went back to the other.
I know, right?
Legionnaire, are you on the hype train?
I am not. I'm going to give this
choo motherfucker.
For me, it was 8.5.
Oh Lord.
I enjoyed.
We have a
it
new
immensely.
Russian judge.
I really did, but there were some things that happened in the movie that kind of took me out of it. So,
which were?
But I, well, the whole plot with the girl that bothered me so much.
Paulette.
'Cause it's like y'all left this poor girl to die basically, and that was just weird. That was just weird to me.
Let it go.
That stayed with me, but you know what? This is a movie that I will watch again with no problem, and will enjoy again because I definitely enjoyed the movie. So yes,
we have a new Russian judge. Donovan, you gave it to him.
I mean, I give props where props are due. So.
Thank you.
There you go. Well, I am on the hype train. Choo motherfuckers. I give it 10 hotel room keys. I really enjoyed this movie. I'll be honest, I had no idea this movie existed before I started to sort of research horror movies and like classic black and white horror movies, in preparation for this podcast series. And I really had no idea what I was going... I didn't really know what to expect, and I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And I can lavish an immense amount of kudos to the actress that played Christiane because she sold it with, basically not even showing any facial expressions, just the eyes and the body movements and things like that. So she really took this film to the next level, and the grotesque nature of the film, the storyline, like everything about it was just really good. And even though, as I believe Donovan and well, all of you I think sort of mentioned it, there were little plot things that we could sort of nitpick, but overall it was just really, really good and satisfying, and bizarre French carny music and all. It was just fun. It was a good movie. So 10 from everyone except Legionnaire. So on that note, please drag your bodies away from the ballroom and prepare to check out. Join us next time for a brand new installment of Horror Hotel. Once again, here's one of our bellhops with a few special announcements.
Good evening. We thank you for your patronage. Like us on Facebook. Facebook.com/PCR Horror Hotel. Follow Panpichulo Radio on social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, and YouTube at Panpichulo Radio. For more information on Horror Hotel, visit panpichuloradio.com/Horror Hotel. Do you have any questions, suggestions, comments, or concerns? Email us via contact@panpichuloradio.com. Help support Panpichulo Radio financially by visiting gofundme.com/panpichuloradio. Are you interested in joining the Panpichulo Radio team as an on-air personality or blog contributor? Email talent@panpichuloradio.com. Binge listen to your favorite Panpichulo Radio programs by visiting panpichuloradio.com/archives. You can also download tonight's broadcast and the rest of the series through iTunes. Just search for Panpichulo Radio's Horror Hotel, and subscribe. We hope you've brought your death certificate. Make final arrangements now.
Thank you. My fellow Horror Hotel team, please wish the hotel guests and the listeners a good night.
Bye
Bye, y'all. Good
See
night,
ya.
listeners. Be well.
Thanks for tuning in. You may have checked into the Horror Hotel, but who says you're allowed to check out? Good night.
I just thought it was. I've never heard this movie until we started, prepping for the show, and I kind of feel bad about that. But the scene where they took the
Pause for a second. Ramon, you're blowing into the microphone or something. Hello, Ramon?
Yes.
Okay, careful. There was something going on your end with the microphone.
Oh, I got it.
Okay, continue on, Mark.
Lost my train of thought.